I did not enjoy this. I'm sorry. I will encourage you to watch other reviews besides this one. I will get into the specifics of what I did not like about it, and those might be things that don't bother you. There are a lot of people who love this book in this series. This will be a spoiler-free review of Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erikson, the first tale of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. My overall feelings for this book were confusion, along with boredom and just kind of pointlessness. In a review, you normally get a sense of the plot, so you know whether it sounds interesting, but I'm not sure I know what the plot was. There are characters who do stuff and go places, but I often wasn't sure why they were even doing what they're doing, like what their goal was for their actions, why they were going to where they were going. Sometimes what they were up to was secretive from the other characters, but it also felt like it was secretive from me, the reader. So the character knew why they were going where they were going, but I didn't, and so I was like not really invested in whether they succeeded or not. There is an empire who has been taken over by the daughter of the late emperor, the daughter who used to be known as Surly but is now known as Lacine. Empress Lacine is not one of the main characters. I'm not sure who the main characters are because there's so many. A lot of times in a epic fantasy where there are many viewpoints, there might be a group of characters, but one or two of them in that group are the main characters. I felt like everyone in each group got an equal amount of attention, which made it hard to know who I was supposed to follow and care about. But the Empress has her eyes on one last city that is not hers, and she wants it. So she's sending her soldiers out to war. She wants everything. She's kind of a greedy Empress. And the people that she has to serve her are powerful. One of the cool things in this book is that it's not a coming of age story for anybody. There is no one at the beginning of their power who is learning. Everyone in this book who can do magic can already do really good and strong magic. No one is discovering something new about their magic. They're just slinging their big spells that they already know. The soldiers are already good soldiers. The assassins are very good assassins. There is one thief who's on the younger side, but he's already able to sneak into a girl's room and then sneak in again, which I thought would be more of a plot point, but you know, what's plot? When you pick up a new big epic fantasy, you expect a certain amount of exposition. You expect there to be some explaining of the world you're in, who these people are, what the magic is like, what the world is like. That's normal. That kind of thing does not intimidate me. I know it can take a while for a big fantasy to get going. This one, however, just kind of throws you in like you're expected to already know about this empire and who the big players are. So at about 100 pages in, I was starting to feel like I kind of understood what was going on. And then I felt like I needed to go back and reread those first 100 pages, which I didn't do because it took me a while to get there, because I was finally starting to understand like where the places were and who the people were. It's a tale of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. It's like if you are someone further down the road in Malaz, looking back and reading this, you already kind of know the history, you live there, you don't need things explained to you. Well, I don't live there. I live in Oregon, and I needed some things explained to me. I also wasn't really sure I understood the motivations for most of the characters. One of the characters that has the best characterization, you don't get as much of as you might like. That's all I'll say about that. There was probably too many characters. I have heard that about this book. I've read other books with a large cast of characters, including The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, which fell into a similar trap of there just being too many that were too similar. Gardens of the Moon has a lot of characters. Hard to tell who the main character is. They all get a lot of attention, which meant none of them got enough attention. It was really hard to care about any of them. If one of them was in danger of getting killed, oh well. We haven't spent enough time getting to know that character, learning about their motivation, what they care about. It took a long time for me to start caring about any of the characters. And even then, it wasn't like a deep care where if one of them gets killed, I'll go, oh, no! Oh, the other reason I didn't feel like I could care enough about the characters was because there was too much tell instead of show. So in the writing world, there's this thing called show don't tell. When a character is going through something or struggling with something, it is good to show through their actions or through their dialogue, but instead the narrator would just explain how a character was feeling. And it made it a lot harder to care about how that character was feeling when it was just being explained to me instead of shown through their actions and their words. And the frustrating part of that is that Steven Erikson was really good at writing the dialogue and the character interactions, but there was not enough of it. If that is one of his strengths, showing those characters talking and getting into their minds and their feelings, why not have more of it? The book would be longer that way, but then I would care more about the characters. And to me, that would have been worth it. So I wanted a lot more character interaction and dialogue. And the plot didn't feel very linear. There was a little jumping back and forth in time, and from what I understand, if you read the further books after this one, it's the same kind of thing. The next book is either after this one or it's happening at the same time with a whole different cast of characters, so it doesn't just move straight forward through time. And there's a lot of threads. If one character's motivation is one thread, and there's all these characters that all have a thread all intertangled, it made it a little hard to follow. And because there were so many, I didn't know which were the important ones. Or because they were all supposed to be important, none of them felt important. Like in music, if the whole song is loud, it doesn't feel like there's a loud part. If the whole painting is white, nothing stands out. So, to sum up, the magic is cool. Not overly explained, so it's like a soft magic system. I know some people prefer that, unlike Sanderson's very hard rule-based magic. The characters were all fine, but a bit flat. They should have gone deeper. Very cool ideas, which to me just weren't wonderfully executed. It all felt a bit chaotic. And while it felt kind of dark, it didn't necessarily feel grim. There wasn't a lot of blood and gore. There was no torture, no unwilling bedroom scenes, or even any bedroom scenes. Things kind of just went behind the curtain, if you will. So if you have avoided this because you thought it was grimdark, The Faithful and the Fallen is worse as far as that kind of content. But for me, just fell a little flat. And if you're looking for other book suggestions, I do have a review of The Faithful and the Fallen and of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. You can check those out after this one. And I hope to see you back here for more videos. And I'll see you next time. Bye.